I want the new $2,000 phone. You'll upgrade me, right? Grant's voice sliced through the clatter of silverware. His phone screen lit up, angled perfectly toward the long brunch table. The message was bold enlarged. My name was at the top of it. My heart knocked once hard against my ribs. He didn't wait, didn't laugh it off, didn't even blink. After all I've tolerated, he added, smirking. She knows she owes me. Laughter erupted. Light at first, then fuller, deeper, like a joke everyone was in on but me. I froze fork mid-air eggs cooling on my plate. The steam vanished faster than my breath. Eyes turned. Some curious, some amused, some already pretending not to see. I looked down, chewed nothing, swallowed air. Tessa giggled. He's been patient? At least make it the Pro Max this time. I didn't speak. The waitress set down a second mimosa near me. I hadn't asked for one. Grant reached for it instead, raised his glass, to surviving another year with the most frugal mother alive. He drank, and I cracked. Not loudly, not visibly. Not enough for them to notice. Just one hairline fracture deep inside. I placed my fork down, wiped my fingers on the napkin, pressed it gently onto my lap as if that tiny motion would keep me grounded. I couldn't even feel my legs. They moved on quickly, talked about summer trips, new baby showers, who was remodeling what. I looked around and realized something bone cold. I didn't recognize this table anymore. After brunch, I walked to the parking lot alone. Grant didn't walk me out. No hug, no thank you. My car was parked under a half-dead tree. The shade didn't help the heat pressing down on my back. I unlocked the door, sat inside, gripped the steering wheel like it was the only thing tethering me to earth. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I sat there until my hands stopped shaking. My phone buzzed again. Tessa. No offense, but you used to be more generous. It's weird now. I stared at the message, then clicked info. Block contact. Another buzz. This time from Grant. Needed ordered by tomorrow. They have a sale. I didn't block him. I didn't reply. I just powered the phone off completely, drove home in silence. No music, no AC, just the soft hiss of tires against asphalt. Back home, I dropped my keys in the dish, hung up my purse, pulled out the tiny folder I'd labeled 5 years ago. Trust, green. I didn't open it. I just placed it on the counter. Then I walked into the kitchen, boiled water, made coffee, hot, black, no sugar, stared out the window, and sat very still. The hum of the refrigerator filled the room. My son had asked for a $2,000 phone, not out of need, but out of habit, out of reflex. Because somewhere along the way, I had let him forget what things cost, what I cost. I drank slowly, let it burn a little. Tomorrow, I would cancel the card, and I wouldn't say a word. I called the bank at 9:01 a.m. Not a minute before, not a minute after. Hi, I need to remove someone from my account. Immediately. No hesitation in my voice. Just control. Measured flat. Like a woman ordering a final drink before leaving the bar forever. The clerk asked authorized user or joint authorized, I said. My son. She paused. Effective now, she asked gently. Now. I didn't tell him. No text, no warning, no farewell message, no motherly cushion. I clicked off the call and stared at the folder still sitting on the counter. The one labeled Trust, green. I touched it. Didn't open it. Not yet. Instead, I made toast I didn't eat. Washed a mug I hadn't used. Straightened the already straight frame on the wall. Everything inside me buzzed, but outside stillness. That afternoon, I sat by the front window with a book I couldn't read. The sun shifted across the living room floor inch by inch like it was daring me to notice time passing. At 4:18 p.m., my phone lit up. Tessa. Hey, just FYI, we noticed the card's not working. If it's fraud, please fix. If not, please communicate next time. 5 minutes later, another. Also, if you can't contribute anymore, we'll have to cut you out. That's fair. Fair. I reread that word 5 times. Fair. I thought about the checks I wrote for their down payment, the rehearsal dinner I covered, the babysitting, the emergency plumbing bill. Fair. I didn't reply. Didn't even let the read receipt show. I turned my phone face down on the table and kept staring at the window. Watched a squirrel dart across the yard and vanish into the neighbor's bush. The air tasted like pennies. At midnight, I woke up in the dark, mouth dry. Poured a glass of water. The hallway light flickered. Cheap bulb. Or maybe it was just old. I stood there barefoot gripping the glass, listening to the silence press against the walls. They wouldn't call tomorrow. They'd wait. Let me sit in it. Make me feel the chill of being cut out. But they didn't know something. This silence, I'd lived here longer than any of them. It didn't scare me. It steadied me. In the morning, I opened the pantry, stared at a box of pancake mix. Thought about Grant at 6 years old, sitting cross-legged on the counter while I flipped them. He used to count the bubbles. Tessa's voice snapped back into my head. We'll have to cut you out. I put the box back on the shelf. Picked up my phone. Unblocked Grant. Sent one line. Check your Venmo. 30 seconds later, Grant. It says canceled. Did you pull it? I locked the screen. Then opened the cabinet under the printer, pulled out the accordion file I hadn't touched in 5 years. The will draft sat near the back. Still unmarked. Still untouched. But this time, I didn't put it away. I slid it onto the table, opened it, and started reading. I paid the bill. Again. No one reached. No one offered. Not even the courtesy glance that says, let's split. I pulled out my card like I always did. Slid it across the table. The server nodded, already used to the rhythm. He didn't even glance toward the others. Grant leaned back in his chair, swirling his second whiskey. Tessa scrolled through her phone, showing pictures of the new backsplash they were installing. I sat there half listening, pushing the last of my salmon around the plate. That's when I heard it. Grant loud enough for the table and the next one over. Mom has it easy. No rent, no kids to raise. She retired early. I'm the one juggling a mortgage and real responsibilities. I deserve more. My hand clenched under the table. He went on laughing. Look at her. Solo retired lady lifestyle? Must be nice. No one laughed with him, but no one stopped him either. Tessa smirked. His cousin Joel looked down at his water. Even Emily, my husband's niece, shifted in her seat but said nothing. No one said a word. Except me. I'm not retired because it was easy, Grant. He waved a hand. Oh, come on. I'm just saying what everyone thinks. I stood up. Calmly. Pushed the chair in. Thanked the waiter. Signed the receipt. Grant raised his glass. Thanks again, Mom. You're the best. I walked out without answering. In the car, I didn't start the engine. I sat there, headlights off, gripping the wheel. My throat ached, not from crying, from holding it in. It wasn't just what he said, it was the way he said it. Like I was some old purse he'd outgrown. Like my usefulness was tied to whatever check I wrote next. Like the years I spent scraping, calculating, skipping meals all meant nothing. And the others. Watching it happen like it was normal. That's when the shift started. Not anger, not grief, clarity. If this was how they saw me, as a soft pocket to squeeze, I could be something else. I could be done. At home, I poured coffee I didn't want. Just needed something warm in my hands. Opened my laptop, typed durable power of attorney into the search bar. Saved a few PDFs. Then I opened my notes app. Started a list. Things I paid for since 2005. Wedding venue, $6,000 realtor fees, $2,500 Grant's car down payment, $200 maternity clothes for Tessa, $400 hospital copays, $800 vacation bailout, $950 preschool deposit for their daughter, $900 unpaid gas bills, $300 Christmas gifts when they were broke, $2,000 total so far, $1,850. And that was only what I could remember off the top of my head. I clicked save, closed the laptop, went to bed without brushing my teeth. The next morning, I opened the garage, looked at the storage shelves. In the back behind holiday boxes and old gardening tools, I saw a locked metal file box. My late husband's. He'd kept records of everything, and so had I after he passed. I pulled it out heavy in my arms, set it on the kitchen counter. Key still taped underneath. I didn't open it yet, just placed it beside the will folder, and turned to make fresh coffee. I drove 2 hours to the lake house and couldn't get in. The key didn't fit. I tried again, slower, then again. Same grind, same resistance. I stood there on the porch, wind off the water, slapping my coat, the bag of groceries sweating at my feet. Grant's car was parked in the drive. The lights were on. He was home. I knocked. Once. Twice. Nothing. I called his phone. Straight to voicemail. I stood there for 10 minutes, holding nothing but cold silence, and 2 bottles of wine I had planned to leave on the counter. A gift like always, for their anniversary. Tessa had texted busy this weekend, but she didn't say where they were. I knew now. I turned around, drove back toward town. Pulled over once to breathe. My hands were shaking. Not from anger. From disbelief. At a rest stop, I opened Instagram. Tessa had posted 15 minutes ago, smiling with a glass of champagne barefoot on the porch. First weekend in our new retreat. Grateful. My stomach flipped. The photo was taken today. The house behind her. My house. The lake shimmered in the background. The porch swing I painted last fall was just out of frame. I checked the comments. Hearts. Fire emojis. Congratulations, Grant replied, with 3 words. We earned this. I sat still for a long time. Then I opened my Dropbox folder, scrolled to the PDF lake property, warranty deed, page 2. My name, Delora Green, 50% owner. Signed, notarized, filed. They hadn't bought it. We had. Together. Grant didn't have the credit to qualify a loan, not back then. I co-signed. I wrote the first check. I paid the down payment. They were supposed to take over once their jobs stabilized. They never did. But now, I was the one locked out. No heads up. No explanation. Just a smug photo and a frozen door. When I got home, I didn't cry. I unpacked the wine. Set the bread on the counter. It had gone stale. Then I opened the metal file box. The one I'd pulled from the garage. Inside mortgage copies, receipts, property tax records, bank wires in my name. I took a deep breath and laid them out one by one. Then I grabbed the will folder, added a new sticky note lake house, ownership clause to be revised. I made coffee, poured it into my heaviest mug, took a slow sip. Then I sat down and opened my browser, typed 4 words. Real estate attorney near me. I clicked on an old desktop folder named Taxes 2016 and found it there. Grant Expenses.xlsx. Last modified 4 years ago. I opened it without thinking, expecting an old draft, something half-finished. But as the spreadsheet loaded, I saw the rows, the numbers, the notes, line after line. Car repairs, $100 or $200 textbooks, $480, rent to $100, wedding venue deposit $5,000, security deposit refund unreturned, $950, emergency dental $780, baby shower food $300, utilities paid, Novifeb $640, credit card debt $2,000. The list scrolled for pages. Every favor I had, forgotten I gave. Every sure I've got it moment. Every time I said yes because I thought that's what mothers did. I kept scrolling. Medical bills, vacation rescues, groceries, furniture, even gas cards when he was between jobs. I clicked the total column. $73,452. I stared at the number. Not for what it said about the money, but for what it said about me. I had always kept records. Not to collect. Not to control, just to remember. Just in case. But even I hadn't realized the weight of it. I had let it bleed out over years, thinking I could afford it not just in cash, but in dignity. I was wrong, and now I had proof. Not just stories, not just emotion. Proof. I printed it. 3 pages. I stapled them together neatly and slid them into the metal file box right next to the deed copy from the lake house. Then I went back to my browser, opened the tab I'd left open. Baker and Ronson, family and estate attorneys. I bookmarked it. Not for tomorrow, for soon. Then I did something I hadn't done in weeks. I smiled. It wasn't wide, it wasn't sweet. It didn't lift my whole face. But it was real. Because I knew now I wasn't empty-handed. And they had no idea I'd started keeping score. I closed the laptop, washed the coffee mug, dried it slow, and walked back to the window where the sun was just beginning to touch the floor again. That quiet hour where shadows stretch long and everything softens. But nothing inside me was soft. Not anymore. I wasn't supposed to hear it. I had stopped by the house unannounced, just to drop off a package that had been mistakenly delivered to my address Grant's old insurance paperwork. I didn't ring the bell. I figured I'd leave it in their mailbox and drive off. No interaction, no scene. But the window by the front walkway was open. Just a crack. And voices carried. Tessa. I don't know how to say it without sounding like a jerk, Grant said. Her voice cut in sharp, practiced. Then don't sound like one. Just say she owes us. Frame it that way. Use her language against her. Pause. Then her again quieter but clear. She had her turn. Now it's ours. My fingers curled around the manila envelope in my hand. The edge bit into my palm. Grant's voice again, this time rehearsing. I just want recognition. I mean, she was never that loving. Not really. She worked a lot. She wasn't warm. Another pause. Then a laugh. Tessa's. She bought a lot of things to make up for it. That's not love. That's guilt. I couldn't move. I stood there pinned by their voices like an exhibit. Was that really what they told themselves? That love meant softness? That stability wasn't love? That the hours I worked, the sleep I skipped, the quiet sacrifices? All of it was transactional. Was I nothing more than an open tab? I stepped back careful not to be seen. Drove away with the envelope still on the seat beside me. Once I got home, I didn't cry. I opened the voice recorder on my phone, recreated the phrases I remembered word for word, repeated them until I had the tone exact, every hesitation, every emphasis. Then I saved the file. Tessa frame prompt wave. I backed it up on 2 drives. Not because I planned to use it, but because they'd crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Not the money, not the house. This time it was me. My memory. My mothering. My worth. Disputed like a charge on a credit card. I brewed coffee. Stronger than usual. Drank it black, standing in the kitchen. The envelope with the insurance papers still sat on the counter. I tossed it in the trash. Then I reached for the metal file box and pulled out a clean folder. Labeled it, Inheritance Hold, and slipped the backup drives inside. I passed the orange juice and didn't get a thank you. Tessa poured it into her glass, never looked up. Grant was scrolling through his phone, laughing at something no one else saw. I sat at the end of the table on the corner, like an afterthought. No one asked me how I'd been. No one commented on the pie I brought. They'd already opened a store-bought one. The chatter floated over me like I wasn't even in the room. Like I was a wall. Babe, we should redo the upstairs bathroom this fall, Tessa said. It's dated. Grant nodded. Mom's house needs it too. Her place is a time capsule. A couple chuckles around the table. I folded my napkins slowly. Didn't say a word. My coffee had gone cold. They filled the room with talk plans, paint, colors, job gripes, Emily's new internship. I wasn't in any of the sentences, just outside them, like I'd already been edited out. At 11:37, my phone buzzed. Emily, I see what they're doing. Call me if you need backup. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Then I typed a single period. Sent it. That was all I had to offer. All I wanted to say. She'd understand. Grant stood up first. We'll head out. Busy week ahead. Everyone started gathering plates, half-heartedly. I reached for mine to help clean up. Tessa took it from my hand. I got it, she said, turning away. Not rude, just final. I stayed seated while the chairs scraped back. One by one, they filtered out. Light hugs. Kisses on cheeks. Small waves. Not a single glance back at me. When the front door closed, I stayed in the silence. The room still smelled like cinnamon and butter, but the plate in front of me was full, untouched. I hadn't eaten a single bite. I pushed back from the table, walked to the kitchen, washed my hands, dried them slow. Then I opened the drawer where I kept the family phone list, the one I'd updated every year, every address, every birthday. I pulled it out and tore it cleanly in half. I walked into the credit union without makeup. No jewelry, no purse, just my ID, my glasses, and the tote with the envelope tucked inside. The woman at the counter recognized me. Mrs. Green, right here for the trust update. I nodded once. She led me to a side room. Neutral walls. Quiet. A small vase of fake hydrangeas sat between us. I handed her the document. She skimmed it. Her eyebrows lifted slightly, but she didn't comment. Just said, "We'll need 2 initials and 1 signature, and I'll witness." I uncapped the pen. Initialed once. Then again. Signed. It felt quiet. Clean. A closing, not a conflict. When I pushed the papers back across the table, she tapped the corner lightly, aligning the edges. "You're making a smart move," she said. I nodded again. Still didn't speak. She filed the originals, handed me a sealed copy in a crisp envelope. Change of beneficiary, Green Family Trust. I slid it into my tote next to my reading glasses and a wrapped granola bar I didn't want. Outside, the wind caught the edge of my coat. Leaves scattered in the parking lot. Someone's child screamed in a back seat. I kept walking. Slow, deliberate. When I reached my car, I didn't get in. I stood there and looked at the sky. No clouds, no noise, no more pretending. Back home, I cleared space in the metal file box. Slipped the envelope inside. It landed with a soft thud beside the spreadsheet and deed copies. Then I went to the fridge, took out the orange juice, poured exactly half a glass, sat at the kitchen table, turned my phone face down, and drank it in silence. Tomorrow I'd call the attorney. I opened the laptop and dragged the first folder into view. Photos. 2019-2022. Nothing dramatic at first. Just party shots. Smiles that felt off in hindsight. Group pictures where I was cropped out on social media, but very much present in the originals. Then I opened the messages. Texts from Tessa. Screenshots from family threads. Dates, times tone. She's like a rusty ATM, spits out money if you hit the right buttons. I saved that one twice. Another from Grant late one night. Just wait until the will is sorted. It's all coming to us eventually. And again from Tessa replying, "It better. I've earned it more than she has." The thread went on for pages. Mockery disguised as planning. Assumptions piled like debt. I'd been generous. Not because I had to, but because I thought they were building something. I thought I was helping them grow. They were waiting for me to die. I found the bank alerts. A $400 transfer to Grant at 2 a.m. last February. Another for $250 the day before his birthday. He never said thank you. I scrolled further. Each time they forgot to pay for lunch. Each Cash App Ping. Each Amazon gift card for the baby. I downloaded them all. Receipts, bank screenshots, voice memos. One labeled Grant voicemail, edited MP3. His voice. She's old school. You gotta guilt her. Works every time. I stopped the recording halfway through. I couldn't listen to it again. I copied everything to a flash drive. Named it clearly, Insurance, Do Not Delete. Then I wrapped the drive in a paper towel, stuck it in an old glasses case, and tucked it inside the hollow of the sugar jar no one ever touched. Not paranoia, just insurance. I turned off the lights, sat at the edge of my bed, and stared at the wall, not thinking, not planning, just holding the weight of knowing. They never saw me as a person, only a gate, a lockbox, a stepping stone with a heartbeat. But now I had the key, and they had no idea what was about to come next. The laughter was fake. I could tell from the door. Someone had brought matching shirts, red iron-on letters, green and growing. I didn't wear mine. I brought potato salad. They didn't unwrap it. Emily hugged me longer than usual. Quiet, deliberate. She didn't say anything. Just tapped her phone twice before stepping back into the circle. I sat alone on a picnic bench under the pine tree. The conversation swirled Tessa, talking about upgrades to the lake house, Grant joking about how retirement makes people soft, and Uncle laughing too loud. Then it happened. My phone buzzed. AirDrop one file from Emily G. I accepted before I even thought to question it. The audio opened immediately. Grant's voice, close range, private. She's just a bridge to the will. After that, who cares? There was a pause, then a woman's voice. Tessa. Exactly. Cross it, then burn it. It wasn't a mistake. They weren't caught off guard. They'd meant it. Every cold shoulder, every forced smile, every joke that landed just a little too sharp. This wasn't poor communication. It was design. A script they rehearsed when they thought no one else was listening. I sat very still, watched them from a distance. Plastic plates in hand, second helpings, drinks clinking. Grant slung an arm over Tessa's shoulder. Tessa pointed toward the lake, said something I couldn't hear. Emily caught my eye from across the lawn. She gave the tiniest nod. That was it. No speech, no drama, just a handoff. I opened my contacts, scrolled to Nathan Friedman, Estate and Family Law. Hit call. It rang twice before he picked up. Delora, he said. Ready? I looked at my son, still laughing, still oblivious. Yes, I said. Let's begin. I signed without hesitation. One stroke, one name gone, then another. Nathan watched quietly, not pushing, not pausing. Just flipping to the next page like this was any other Tuesday. It wasn't. Grant's name disappeared first, then Tessa's. Line after line of legal phrasing removed their claim like it never existed. I've added Emily here, Nathan said, tapping the new section. And the rest, per your request, goes to the foundation. I read the line aloud. Women's Trust for Renewal and Shelter, a grant for survivors building again from nothing. Seemed fitting. They'll do more with it than he ever would, I said, signing the final line. Nathan slid the file into a sealed envelope. We can lock this until it's needed. I didn't blink. It'll be needed. We sat in silence for a moment. The air in his office was cool, clinical, but something had shifted in my chest. Not relief, not anger. Something sharper, like a line drawn with steel. I'll send confirmation for the trust updates this afternoon, he added. You'll receive everything in duplicate. I nodded once. He stood to walk me out, but I didn't need escorting. I knew the way. I didn't look back at the folder on his desk. Didn't need to, because the weight that had been pressing on my spine for the last 2 years, it was gone. And in its place, something else settled. Precision. I walked out the door and started planning the next move. She cornered me near the punch table. Fake smile, sugar voice, nails tapping her cup like it was a metronome for manipulation. Hey, quick thing she said. Grant's been looking at a new upgrade. He's outgrown the sedan, you know how it is. I said nothing. She leaned in closer, like we were allies. So we figured maybe you'd help. Just the down payment. It would mean a lot. I reached for a napkin, dabbed my hand dry. She wasn't done. And if not, her voice dropped a note. Maybe skip Thanksgiving. It might be tense. We're trying to keep things positive this year. She smiled, sipped her drink, waited. I looked her dead in the eye. I understand, I said. Simple. Calm. Then I picked up my coat and left. No cake. No goodbye. Back home, I opened the file cabinet, pulled out the envelope labeled Lake House. Car. Equity inside was a copy of the car's title. It had been in my name since the beginning. They handled the payments. I'd handled the rest. I took out a stamped envelope, slid the deed inside, and addressed it to my P.O. box. Not theirs. Mine. Then I sealed it. Marked the back in bold ink, transfer pending hold. I didn't call, didn't text, didn't explain. Let them sit in their silence. Because what they thought was leverage was already gone. Grant called at 10:43 p.m., crying, or trying to. Voice shaky, full of pauses, the kind he used in high school when caught in a lie. We're drowning, he said. The mortgage is late. We just need 1 month covered. Just this once. I leaned back on the couch. He kept talking. It's just been a bad stretch. Tessa's business hit a snag. I've been picking up extra hours. We're trying. That word trying landed flat. I stared at the ceiling. He sniffed. Can you help, Mom? Please. I didn't rush my answer. Let the silence stretch long enough to make him wonder if the call had dropped. Then I said, Of course. He exhaled like he'd just been saved. Thank you, he said, almost a whisper. Seriously, Mom, thank you. I ended the call, opened the banking app, typed in his number, entered the amount 1.0. In the notes I wrote, per your request. Hit send. Blocked his number. I sat still, watching the blue screen blink transfer successful. No guilt, no shaking, just stillness. He wanted to play need, I'd play literal. He wanted to treat me like a faucet, I'd give him a drop. That's what he asked for after all. Just this once. 1 month, $1. I closed the app. Set the phone face down. The room hummed with refrigerator noise and wind against the window. And somewhere in that low hum, I felt something shift. Not a break, not even a crack. Just steel settling into place. Tomorrow, they'd panic. But tonight, I'd sleep. I arrived 5 minutes early. Grant's front porch light was off, even though I knew they'd been setting the table for over an hour. I knocked anyway. Tessa opened the door with a smile so sweet it cracked. Oh, you made it, she said like it was a surprise. The dining room was full, 12 places all filled, all faces I recognized. Some turned away, some smiled too fast. One thing was missing. My chair. I stood for a beat, looked at the long table, the empty wine glasses, the name cards. No seat for me. Tessa gestured toward the hallway. We thought you'd prefer the kitchen. It's quieter, less crowded. My jaw twitched. Just once. I nodded, walked down the hallway, turned into the kitchen. A folding chair sat next to the counter. No placemat. 1 plate, 1 fork, a paper napkin, roast chicken, mashed potatoes, no dessert. I sat, picked up the fork, took a bite, chewed slowly, alone. Not one person came in to speak to me. Not Grant. Not even out of politeness. I heard laughter from the next room, the clinking of glasses. A toast. Someone said, to family. I didn't flinch. Instead, I ate. Bit by bit. Like I had all the time in the world. Because they thought this was a humiliation. But I knew better. This was the last act in their play. And I'd already read the ending. I cleaned my plate. Rinsed it. Dried it. Set it quietly by the sink. No goodbye. No performance. Just silence. Because they'd finally told me everything I needed to know. And they didn't even realize they had. I walked back into the dining room. No announcement. No smile. Just one step. Then another. The room quieted before I reached the table. I didn't sit. Didn't ask. I placed the binder at the center. Thick. Worn edges. No label. Just weight. Forks froze. Eyes narrowed. Grant leaned back slightly, wine glass half raised. Tessa shifted, already calculating. I flipped it open. One plastic sleeve after another. Receipts, screenshots, bank transfers, photos, audio transcripts, voicemails, emails, postmarks. Then I paused, slid out the final page, set it down slowly. The new will, I said. Silence. Grant's hand slipped on the wine glass. It tilted, pooled red across the white tablecloth. He didn't reach to clean it. Tessa stared at the binder like it might bite her. No one moved. I didn't explain, didn't shout. I just let it sit there, thick and ugly and undeniable. The binder held the truth they thought I was too tired to carry, too soft to organize, too old to weaponize. But I'd kept every detail, every message, every dollar. I watched them blink, watched the color drain, and in that stillness, I saw something new in their faces. Fear, not rage, not defiance, just cold, sudden fear. Because they realized the show was over, and they were never the ones writing it. The first overdraft hit at 9:12 a.m., then another. By noon, Grant had called the bank 3 times. Tessa posted a vague status about betrayal and jealousy. I didn't read it. I got the screenshot from Emily. The trust froze both of their access codes. Nathan had sent the letters last week. Effective immediately was the phrase stamped in red. By dinner, Tessa's name was blacklisted from every account tied to the Green Family Trust. Even the holiday fund. Even the lake house maintenance budget. She tried to contest it, but the deed was already refiled. My cousin Lila texted me just after dark. "What did you do?" I stared at the screen for a moment, then typed back slowly. I kept the receipts. No emoji, no punctuation. Just the truth. She didn't respond. Didn't have to, because everything was shifting now, just not in their favor. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't pleading. I wasn't begging to be included in their next Thanksgiving. I was watching. And what I saw, desperation dressed in entitlement. They didn't ask how I was. Didn't ask why I'd changed the will. They just panicked at what they'd lost. Like it was theirs to begin with. That night, I slept straight through. No dreams, no tossing, just quiet. For the first time in years, no part of me was waiting for the next hit. She went public. Middle of a Monday, no warning, just bold white letters on a black background. Toxic parents destroy families. Underneath a bitter caption, some people will never accept boundaries. They only love control. You know who you are. She didn't tag me. She didn't need to. Everyone knew I didn't comment, didn't share, didn't even blink. But others did. Emily was first. One sentence. Pretty sure that toxic parent bought your car, your honeymoon, and your kitchen remodel. She added a photo, Grant's BMW parked in front of their house bow, still visible from the dealership. My handwriting on the card taped to the windshield. For everything ahead, love Mom. Then the thread exploded. Our cousin Jordan posted the wedding check I'd written. $10,000. Signed in full, my name crystal clear. Marla, a family friend, added screenshots from a group chat Tessa last year, bragging about me covering their mortgage again, laughing about how guilt gets you far. 30 comments. Then 60. Then over 100. Tessa tried replying, deflecting, denying. Someone else posted a quote from Grant. She's just a bridge to the will. That was the end of it. 17 minutes after posting, Tessa deleted the whole thing, but screenshots had already spread. Group chats, neighborhood forums. Someone even sent me a copy via email with the subject line, "Thought you'd want to see this." I didn't open it. Didn't need to. I was never playing the same game. The next day, Tessa posted a vague meme. Something about forgiving silently. No one engaged. No hearts, no likes, no comments. It sat there like a dropped match in the rain. Later that week, Grant tried to revive the narrative. Something about being misunderstood, how people twist things for attention. But it fizzled fast. Silence exposes cowards. And when the target doesn't react, doesn't scream, doesn't chase you, can't keep the crowd. That's what broke her. Not the backlash, not the screenshots, the silence. Mine, solid, unmoving, unbothered. She tried to destroy my name. I didn't even flinch, because she was already irrelevant. I deleted the voicemails, blocked the numbers, turned off notifications. Then came the silence. No more accidental emails. No more texts from distant cousins pretending they just wanted to check in. No late-night phone calls from Grant, his voice suddenly soft with regret. Just stillness. Nathan arrived at noon sharp. Suit clean, eyes steady. He didn't sit. Just placed the envelope on the table. "It's done," he said. "The trust is finalized." I didn't ask for details. I didn't need them. Emily would know what to do. She signed where she needed to. Quiet, efficient, focused. She didn't cry. She didn't ask me why. She just said thank you and hugged me like she meant it. I walked her to the door, watched her drive off. That was the only goodbye I needed. Back inside, I gathered the boxes. Notebooks, photos, school crafts, holiday cards. That drawing Grant made when he was 7 stick figures and a shaky "I love you, Mom" scrawled underneath. I touched it once, just once, then tossed it in with the rest. It wasn't cruelty. It was clarity. I had built a life around a version of him that no longer existed. A version I fed, clothed, defended, believed in, until he told me in every action that none of it mattered. Not if there wasn't money attached. The matches lit easy. I fed the fire in careful handfuls. Family vacations, birthday banners, the wedding program where they forgot to list me on the back. Gone. Smoke curled upward. My eyes didn't water, not even once. Letting go didn't feel like grief anymore. It felt like stepping outside after a long storm, hair-soaked heart bare but breathing. Alive. Free. I didn't speak that entire evening. Didn't text. Didn't journal. Didn't pour a glass of anything. Just sat. Hands folded. And felt nothing. Which for the first time felt like peace. I sealed the envelope with steady hands. No shaking, no second thoughts. Just one yellow mailer. Thin, clean, final. Inside, I placed 3 things. His birth certificate, a check for $1, and a post-it note in my handwriting. Entitlement is expensive. So is forgetting who raised you. I didn't sign it. I didn't need to. The post office clerk asked if I wanted tracking. I shook my head. Some things don't need to be followed, just delivered. The walk back home felt lighter. No music. No distractions. Just the sound of gravel underfoot and the hum of a breeze I hadn't noticed in years. I passed the bakery Grant used to beg to stop at when he was little. He'd pull at my sleeve, ask for a cookie with sprinkles. I used to say yes, even when we couldn't afford it, especially then. Now I kept walking. No pause. No pull. That night, I sat at the kitchen table and opened my own safe. Took out every document with his name on it. College aid forms, old bank authorizations, emergency contacts, life insurance. One by one, I replaced his name with Emily's. Not out of revenge, out of relief. He had stepped off the page a long time ago. I was just finally catching up. I filed the new papers in a fresh folder labeled Final Copy. Then I locked it. And I didn't cry, because I hadn't lost a son. I'd finally stopped funding a stranger. Tomorrow, I'd start packing the house. The lake one was next. I poured the coffee slow. Let the steam rise like breath returning to the room. No rush. No calls. No eyes watching the clock. Just me, one mug and a chair I didn't have to share. I stepped onto the porch, barefoot. The wood warm from the afternoon sun. A breeze moved through the trees like a quiet wave, no fanfare, just presence. I sat, held the cup between both hands. The mug read, "Paid in full." A gag gift from a coworker years ago, back when I'd finally paid off Grant's final semester. It had sat untouched in the cabinet since. Today, it felt earned. I sipped. The yard looked different now. Not because it had changed, but because I had. Every patch of grass, every overgrown edge, every uneven stone path, I saw it all without the weight of expectation. No one waiting for a check. No one asking what I could give next. Just air, wind, and space. I thought I'd feel lonely, that cutting them off would leave a hole. But the only thing that left was the ache of being needed but never thanked, the ache of performing motherhood like a job you could get fired from, the ache of watching my love turned into leverage. Now I breathed. Even silence had shape. Even stillness had voice. A car passed by in the distance. Not slowing, not stopping. Good. I no longer waited for apologies that would never come. I no longer rehearsed speeches in my head. I no longer feared holidays or phone calls or what people might say when they didn't know the whole story. I didn't owe them my peace. They never gave me theirs. The mug was half empty now. The wind picked up just enough to rattle the chimes by the door. I looked down the hill toward the edge of the lake. The house, my lake house, stood quiet and empty. The locks had been changed. The deed had been updated. The paperwork was in my name only again. I'd drive there next week. Maybe repaint the porch. Maybe not. For now, I just sat. The mug warm. The wind gentle. The future mine.